folks, and welcome back to the Shit Talkers Show. After 6 long months without the league, without the show, and without any accountability whatsoever, we are finally back, and somehow, after just one round, everything already feels completely out of control. I'm Bobby Baxter, joined as always by Lenny Giordano and Sally Fairbank.
6 months off and not one of these teams has improved. If anything, they've come back worse.
Some of them spent the off-season rebuilding. Others spent it quietly setting themselves up for disaster.
We saw alliances form, reputations reset, and at least one coach enter the season with a very clear plan to avoid finishing last. After what we've just seen in round 1, that plan may already be working. So let's get into it.
Now, before we break down the games, we've added something new to the show this season. Over the off-season, we've brought in our very own in-house band, the ST Funk Express.
Still don't understand why we needed a band.
Because clearly the football wasn't chaotic enough.
They'll be taking us through the weekly highlights all season, led by the man himself, Reggie Velvet Thunder King.
Bobby, baby, it is an honor to be part of this situation. Now I've been watching this game all week trying to understand it, and I'm still not entirely sure what's going on. But I do know one thing. It's got rhythm.
That's not how I'd describe it.
Reggie, just play the song.
Say less. Let's ride.
Tiger Frau opened their season looking composed and well-structured, moving the ball with control and putting together a strong score. But the Dodgy Wogs made sure this was anything but a clean contest. At times, it felt more like a chaotic family gathering than a football match, with noise, movement and confusion everywhere you looked. In the end, Tiger Frau handled the pressure better and came away with a solid 166-point win. What began as a promising pre-season friendship between Roger Mortier and Les Riley quickly turned into the first major fallout of the year. Roger, determined to avoid a third consecutive wooden spoon, saw an opportunity and quietly positioned Les as the league's next easy target. Roger's advice to captain Connor Rosé, who scored just 55 points, proved disastrous, especially when Roger himself selected Marcus Bontempelli, who went on to score 141. That decision alone changed the game, with the Munchers securing a 133-point win and the relationship between the two coaches now completely broken. Lieutenant Dan Taylor was outstanding, finishing with 40 disposals off half-back. Roaring Tigers proved too strong across the ground, but Dunder Mifflin will look back on this as a missed opportunity. At key moments, their execution let them down in ways only they can manage. Kevin Malone created chaos early, Dwight's instructions confused just about everyone, and Creed Bratton drifted in and out without anyone entirely sure which side he was on. Despite staying competitive, they couldn't match the class of Roaring Tigers, led by Tina Turner, who dominated with 25 disposals and 5 goals.
In what was one of the closest games of the round between Sacred Snapper and Phlegm Dogs, with neither side able to break clear throughout the contest. As the final siren sounded, the scores were level and it looked like we were heading for a draw. Instead, in a moment that defied all logic, Gilligan found himself with the ball in his arms as the siren went and calmly slotted the winning goal to give Sacred Snapper a dramatic 10-point win. Relic made a serious statement in round 1 with a dominant performance, particularly inside forward 50, where they created mismatch after mismatch. Tony Lockett finished with 8 goals, Fraser Gehrig added 6, and Plugger the Pig made a huge impact on debut, kicking 4 goals and taking one of the marks of the century. Thunderstruck simply had no answers for that level of firepower. And if Plugger the Pig has proven anything this week, it's that pigs can fly, which makes what we saw from Smilly's squad slightly less surprising. For a team that has long carried the Spuds label, this was a controlled and convincing performance against Houdini's rivals. The Spuds handled the game well from start to finish, with Chip Mack Spud leading the way in what could be the beginning of a very different season for them.
Jungle Land actually started well and looked in control early, but Lalor of the Wild took over in a way that was almost impossible to track. Players kept appearing out of nowhere, creating scoring opportunities with no warning, and somehow John Cena kicked 6 goals without anyone getting near him. By the time Jungle Land adjusted, the game had completely slipped away. The Paul Stanleys have picked up exactly where they left off last season, showing no signs of a premiership hangover. Sizzling Grill had the advantage in height, but they struggled badly at ground level, and that's where the Stanleys took control. They kept the ball low, moved it quickly, and capitalized every time it hit the deck. David Lee Roth finished with 4 goals, while Freddie Mercury collected 35 disposals in a dominant display. This was one of the tightest games of the round, and it ended in a moment that will be talked about all week. Ricky Ponting had the chance to win the game from close range, but after a brief interaction with Paulie Walnuts and Tony Soprano, something clearly changed. Ponting unexpectedly turned and booted the ball 60 meters in the opposite direction, resulting in a costly turnover that handed Abs Magic the win. Paulie Walnuts was later named best on ground despite gathering only 5 disposals, highlighting just how much influence he had on the outcome.
The final game of the round delivered one of the more unusual turning points we've seen, as Camrita Tigers turned to their wildlife tactics to take control. A coordinated flock of birds created complete disruption, and despite their physical presence, the Vipers struggled to respond. Aussie Ostrich was dominant with 15 marks and 7 goals, leading Camrita Tigers to a strong win.
I'm still trying to figure this out. Do snakes eat birds, or do birds eat snakes?
I thought snakes ate birds.
Some birds eat snakes.
So what happened here?
Well, clearly, the birds won.
That's embarrassing.
We have to go back to Riley Boys Tigers and the Munchers, because this one has already changed the tone of the season. Roger Mortier came into this year desperate to avoid another wooden spoon, and when he saw an opportunity to shift that pressure onto someone else, he took it. Les Riley trusted him, followed the advice, and paid the price immediately.
That's not just a loss, that's a lesson.
And now it's not a friendship anymore, it's a rivalry. And I don't think Les is letting that go anytime soon.
And now, it's time for
Legends Locker Room Leaks.
All right, I've got some absolute gold coming out of the locker rooms this week, and I'm telling you now. Round 1 has already done serious damage. Let's start with Riley Boys Tigers. I'm hearing Les Riley didn't get angry after the game. Not even a little bit. He just sat there quietly, re-watching the match, nodding along like everything made sense. At one point he reportedly said, "Nah, that's all right. Rosie might still come good in the last quarter." The game had already finished. Now over at the Munchers. Roger Mortier has come out of that win looking very pleased with himself, but not for the reasons you'd expect. Sources are saying he genuinely believes he helped Les. He's been going around telling people, "I told him Rosie was a good pick. I didn't know Bont was gonna do that." Which is incredible, because he picked Bont himself. How about the Smilly squad? Now this is where things have taken a very strange turn. Dan Evans has leaned so far into the Spud identity that there are now only 4 actual humans in the entire side. The rest are literal potatoes. Life-size potatoes. Running around, taking marks, kicking goals. I don't know how it's allowed, but it's happening. What's even more concerning is that it's working. I'm hearing the Spuds don't complain, they don't get injured, and they just keep turning up every week. One of the assistant coaches was overheard saying, "They've got a low error rate and excellent durability," which is not something you ever want to hear about a potato. And finally, Abs Magic. Now this one's raised a few eyebrows. After the game, Paulie Walnuts and Tony Soprano were seen having a quiet word with multiple people around the ground, including Ricky Ponting, the umpires, and at one point, someone from the timekeeper's box. No one's entirely sure what was said, but one Lalor player claimed he heard the phrase, "Just calm it down. Do something," right before everything went sideways.
You've said a lot there without confirming anything.
That's why it's a leak.
No, that's why it's speculation.
Sally's Spotlight.
This week's spotlight is on Relic, because what we saw from them in round 1 wasn't just a win, it was a statement. After being overlooked last season, Crystal Jones has come back with a team that looks sharper, stronger, and far more dangerous, particularly in attack. Every time the ball went inside 50, it felt like a guaranteed scoring opportunity, and Thunderstruck simply didn't have the tools to match up. With that kind of forward line and that level of execution, Relic have immediately put themselves on notice as one of the teams to watch this season.
A quick look at the ladder after round 1. And while it's still early, we're already seeing a few teams make strong starts, while others have some work to do if they want to keep pace. Well, folks, that's round 1 of the Shit Talkers show.
And it's taken 1 round for everything to already fall apart.
And we're only just getting started.
We'll see you next week. See ya.
See ya.
See ya!
It's more